Okay, let's talk about it. Why did the Netflix 2022 movie fail where the Hooper 1974 movie excelled? And before we get into anything, the 2022 version is the best movie besides the 1974 and the second movie. All the other ones, Leatherface, for 2003, all those other movies. But let's get right into what exactly made 1974 so great and why has it been so hard to replicate. And these are just my thoughts, my opinions. So if you want more of this, go ahead and follow, subscribe, all that good stuff, notification bell. Let's get into it. So 1974's Hooper pretty much started the slasher genre, if you want to put it that way. I think movies like Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, all those movies would have not been made the way they were if it not were for Texas Chainsaw Massacre back in 74, which Hooper did an amazing job on because of we could make a whole video about that actually, which we will, so stay tuned for that. But let's talk about what exactly are the key points here that I don't think any of the other movies with Leatherface have followed. So first and foremost, I think 1974 is a less gruesome movie than many of us might remember if we haven't watched it in a bit. I watched it last year, but if you don't remember, the movie really doesn't have much blood or gore or any of that. I think a lot of the horror is more subtle, especially the gore itself, which is something that this 2022 version went a little over the top, in my honest opinion. And I think that they were just trying to sort of like give a lot more than they were intending to, just to try and draw audiences into the shock factor, which doesn't always work, in my opinion. I think that the beauty of 1974 is that a lot of it felt more blunt, a lot more less in your face, more like sticks with you in the back of your mind, like what the hell's going on. And I mean, one of the best horror scenes of all time, and regarded as one of the best scenes in horror history, is just when Leatherface bonks that dude with the hammer and then shuts the metal door. That's regarded as one of the scariest moments of all time because at that moment in time, we're not sure exactly what's going to happen, what's behind those doors, and what Leatherface is about to do. And I think a lot of this movie is just that, the imagination running wild, the visceral feeling of insanity crawling through your skin. And that's a lot with Cooper's style of directing, where we saw a lot of shots that were very unconventional. I mean, the scene where Sally is with the whole family and you just see like a really close up of her eye, the camera's jittery, it's everywhere. It's just giving you this feeling of what the hell's going to happen next, and it really puts you in your shoes, in the shoes of Sally right there, not in your shoes but in her shoes, of where am I going to be next. Whereas opposed, I think all of the other movies, we feel more as spectators in anything else besides that. And I think it goes back to Hooper's way of directing as well, as he was a documentary filmmaker before he did this film. So a lot of it is through your eyes, the way he's directing. And the newest movie and all the other ones maybe feel more as we're watching from above as sort of the spectator. So we don't really feel the true horror of it because we don't really feel in danger at any moment in time. So I think that's something right there. Also, the issues were a lot more subtle in this 1974 movie than they were in 22. 22 really put them out there into the forefront, and I think they try to do too many issues all at once, and they were really like throwing them in your face. Whereas opposed 1974, it was subtly in there, especially with the way that we treat animals and the meat industry, all of that. Also, capitalism, as well as the way the US was just going about things at the time, with war, with the oil crisis, all of that stuff. And I think none of that was ever really said outright like that as we did in 2022 version, where they could have really subtly hinted at things in there instead of like putting them up in your face, which sort of takes you out of the movie at a point, because then you're just feeling like you're at a lecture, not really at a horror movie. But I think that you can really give good social commentary in horror if you do it right, which this movie didn't do right in my opinion. So that's one thing right there. Now, I think another big thing about this movie also is the grittier art house feel of the 1974 version, which I already talked about briefly when I was talking about the Sally scene. And there's other scenes in here as well. In particular, I think that the scenes where we see Leatherface first appear are very menacing compared to what we saw in this one, where he felt more as a villain, not somebody we're really scared of, somebody we're just trying to take down. And over here in the 1974, it felt very uncanny and real, and it's just this shock, like disbelief of what is going on. So I think that was something there as well. I think also the fact that Leatherface in 1974 feels like a real human, not really like an invincible like giant as he does in 2022, makes it more scarier because you can really think that there could be somebody who could be doing this, and it makes it much more believable than something like a Leatherface that we saw recently, who was sort of like an immortal like Jason. I think that's one of the reasons that the Friday the 13th movies don't really feel as scary as the Michael Myers movies, because Jason is basically a zombie, and Michael Myers, it feels like this is a true madman, and that's what really makes things a lot scarier, is that you can really imagine these things could actually happen. So you get more terrified as you're leaving or ending the movie. So that's one of the things I think with 1974 and 2022. Now, let's get to the realness about all this. Characters in both movies suck. I don't think you care for any of the characters, honestly, in either 1974 or 2022, but I think that's what any horror movie, that you just have characters you don't care about that make dumb decisions. So I don't think that's really a criticism on 2022 as it is to the whole horror genre in general. I think that the story was very simple as well in 2022, but it was just progressing too fast. Like, I hate horror movies that are slow, but then again, when they're too fast, you're just like, hold on, let me catch my breath a little before you get to the whole ending, because then it just feels shallow, and I don't really care who survived or not by the end of it, because I didn't get to know any of these characters. And I think that's something that the 1974 version does very well, is it lets you linger on these moments of pure horror and shock, as opposed to the newer movies. They just skip. Like, they keep skipping and don't really let you relish in the horror. Look at this little mic popping up right here. I gotta hold the mic, y'all. I need a better stand. But that's one of the things I think that horror movies don't do generally well nowadays, is they don't let the horror linger and sit there. The dread of everything happening. I can't talk. But yeah, I think that's one of the big things. If you notice, going back to this movie, that everything, when something big happened, we just moved on to the next scene and the next scene. You don't really get that relishing moment of dread and just fear going all over you, which I think that some of the earlier movies did, especially 1974's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So, like I said, in general, these are all of the things I think that didn't make 2022 a worthy, like, movie to be put up there with 74. But when it comes to Leatherface, it is the best movie besides 1 and 2, and we're just here hoping that they can fix these mistakes when it comes to the next movie in the sequel, which is undoubtedly going to come, because I think Netflix just goes based off who watched it for like the first 5 minutes, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people did. So hopefully they can fix all of these things and give us a better sequel. I really do want Leatherface to become a franchise worthy of getting sequels back to back, just like Halloween, just like all the other movies have been getting. But we'll see. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on what you think about the 1974 versus 2022. And did you enjoy the 2022 version? I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I don't think it was amazing. I don't think it was bad. It was just good, like right in the middle, something fun to watch. And I definitely enjoyed it more than the other Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies besides 1 and 2. So let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. And as always, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, subscribe, turn that notification bell on. I think it's over here. Make sure you comment down below your thoughts and opinions, and let me know what else you want me to cover on the channel. Definitely taking a lot of suggestions. And yeah, that's going to do it for me. You can follow me on TikTok. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me here. You can follow me anywhere. I'll drop the links down below. And as always, that's going to do it for me. I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe. Stay positive.